China-Japan War in 1937. Introduction. This is a picture that Japanese army was attacking Nanking City, the capital of China, in order to finish the war. This war is very strange and difficult to understand, especially for Western people, because Far East Asian history has not been known well. Next, after the war, winner of Chiang Kai-shek, the dictator of the Chinese National Party, lost China. U.S. that had supported Chiang so much was kicked out from China and Manchuria by Communist Mao in 1949. Who was real winner of the war? It was Stalin and Mao. Stalin won the war against Hitler in Western Front and Japan in Eastern Front too. Mao got China and Manchuria owing to Stalin's support in 1949. Next, data of results of the war. Japan lost 0.45 million of soldiers. Chiang Kai-shek lost 1.3 million of soldiers. Soviet Russia gave $300 million of military aids in loan to Chiang for the war against Japan. It included 1,000s of airplanes and 4,000s of Russian Red Army, including pilots. USA gave $1.5 billion of military aid to Chiang, but no return. Chiang and his family became very rich. Next, leaders. This war is very difficult to understand because many leaders of countries were related to the war. This war was carried out by not only Chiang and Japan but also Hitler, Stalin and Roosevelt. Chiang was only a puppet of Stalin. Hitler was the dictator of Nazi Germany. In 1924 he expressed his plan in his book titled Mein Kampf in order to conquer Russia to make Germany a self-sufficient country. He hoped a pincer attack against communist Russia with Eastern anti-communist countries. They were Japan and Chiang Kai-shek of China. So Hitler kept good relationship with them. Hitler had sent military advisors group to Chiang's army and sold German fine weapons. Stalin was the dictator of communist Russia. He was very careful and cunning person. He had read Hitler's book and prepared for German attack near future. Then he planned to make war between China and Japan in order to break Hitler's pincer attack. His plan was to make anti-communist countries harmless in eastern border of Russia. Next. Chiang Kai-shek was a dictator of Chinese National Party. He had been engaged in civil war against Maoist communists since 1927. In 1936, he was the best positioned to unify China. So it was said that China reached to the position of 5 minutes before unification after long civil war. But in 1936, he was captured in Xi'an Incident by Stalin and changed his policy from unification of China to attack Japan. Prince Kono was Prime Minister of Japan. Japan adopted constitutional monarchy system and the general election had been carried out already. Japan was only one democratic country in Asia. Tenno Hirohito was a spiritual leader and not dictator of Japan. Kun made great efforts to realize peace with Chiang, but Chiang refused peace negotiations. Japan was caught in a trap by Chiang and Stalin and could not escape from it. Next. This is the picture of Roosevelt at Yalta in 1945. He was president of U.S. He pursued traditional American Pacific policy to enter China, which had been declared by John Hay, Secretary of State, in 1899. Roosevelt helped Chiang in order to enter China and Manchuria through him. But he was cheated by Chiang and Stalin. Finally, U.S. was kicked out from China. He died in April 1945 before the end of the war. US had wasted huge amount of money and weapons, but US did not get any profits. His efforts just helped Stalin to expand his communist Russian territory in Europe and Asia. Stalin and Roosevelt decided territorial agreement of China without getting any consent of Chiang. As Chiang was a puppet of Stalin and Roosevelt, he was not invited to the conference. Stalin was the ringleader of the war. Next. Causal relationship of the war. Hitler succeeded in building up strong German military power. He prepared attack against Soviet Russia. But he had misunderstood Stalin was a weak leader. Stalin had suspected Hitler's attack. He carefully kept good relationship with Nazi Germany. He established diplomatic relation with US in 1933. He sent spies into many important organizations including President Office and Los Alamos National Laboratory. In the eastern border of Russia, Russian Communist Party had their branch in China. It was Mao's Chinese Communist Party. Stalin had given him weapons, money and supervisors including well-known Mikhail Borodin. Stalin's strategy was to break Hitler's pincer attack. Stalin caught Chiang in Xi'an City in December 1936. Chiang changed his basic policy suddenly from the civil war against Mao to the war against Japan. Stalin succeeded in causing the war between Chiang and Japan. Anti-communist countries in eastern border became harmless for the Soviet Russia. Then he was able to concentrate all of Soviet forces on only Western Front to fight against Germany. Roosevelt supported Chiang very much. Finally, Stalin became only one winner of Second World War including Japan-China War II. Chiang lost China by Mao and escaped to Taiwan in 1949. Mao unified China after 37-year civil war. In 1951, General Douglas MacArthur told at the U.S. Congress that the loss of China and formation of Communist China was the largest failure of the American Pacific policy in last 100 years. In short, United States had been deceived by Stalin and Chiang Kai-shek. Next. This is the monument of Xi'an Incident in front of the hotel where Chiang was captured in 13th of December 1936. This monument tells that this is second important historical place in Communist China. Western historians regard Xi'an Incident as the real start of China-Japan War. End.